Hey everybody, Eric Hayden here in the garden today. What in the world is going on in my garden? I've got some yellowing leaves. It's really progressed over the last couple days, and then the last day or two it really hit an abundance in the garden, kind of an alarming rate how my leaves are yellowing. So this video is going to talk a little bit about how to identify what's going on in your garden. This is not an obvious case. I'm going to show you a few black spots in the garden. That's pretty obvious when you have that. What we have going on now, not exactly sure what it is, but I have some inklings on what I think it is based on what is happening in my garden and where it's happening. And that's what I want to go over in this video. So again, some diseases are pretty easy to identify, but sometimes you have to do a little bit of detective work. You have to piece things together, but I thought this could be anywhere from black spot to some sort of fungus, a soil deficiency, overwatering, underwatering. Really wasn't sure what was happening, because when you just diagnose a yellowing of a leaf, maybe turning brown on the edges and falling off, it could be a lot of different things. So I know there's a lot of videos out there on black spot and diseases. Today, we're going to go step by step how you can identify something that's maybe a little more advanced and not quite as obvious. So step one, let's start with the obvious. We do have some black spot. That's the first clue, and then we'll go from there. So for the first time this summer, in many, many years, I have not had black spot until very late in the year. And that is quite impressive for my climate. Eastern North Carolina, we are extremely humid. Our coast faces east-west, so we have a prevailing southerly flow. I'm 3 miles from the ocean, so very hard to have clean leaves down where we are. And I've learned through the years, rotating fungicides is key. Up north, I could pretty much only spray propiconazole and manzate every 2 weeks, and I was good to go. Down here, I had to add in Captane and also Claries. So I was really happy about 3 weeks ago when I would have, this is Mr. Caleb. Once in a while, this showed some signs of black spot, but aside from that, not too bad. And what I've been doing is any of those leaves just ripping off, because there's a lot of spores on here. And you can clearly see that's black spot. You can clearly see the yellow, the leaf turning yellow and then eventually brown. And then this one totally turning brown. So that is pretty obvious. That is black spot. Had a little bit of it in the garden late in the summer. Not a huge deal. Sometimes you can also see it, on surrounding leaves and these lesions and black spots. Eventually, as they advance, the leaf turns yellow and then brown and then falls off. So again, pretty clear-cut case what's going on. But what I'm about to show you was quite disturbing. I noticed on a lot of my plants, very, very good growth. Again, if you're looking at eye level or above, I've got gigantic roses, beautiful blooms. Obviously, I'm spraying. You can see the spray residue from a recent application last week of manzate. So, overall, the garden is extremely healthy. But about a week and a half ago, I just noticed a slow yellowing of the leaves from the base of the plant up. And again, none of them were totally obvious. You can look in here and see that, again, the white on the leaf is not powdery mildew. That is residual spray. But if you flip over the leaf, you can tell it is probably some sort of fungus, some sort of disease. But early in the stage of the leaf, if you just see this, I'm going to pull this one off here, and you just see yellowing of the veins. It could be lack of iron, overwatering, stress, heat stress, I mentioned overwatering, some sort of soil deficiency. It could be a million different things. But what was alarming over the last couple of days is I finally started to notice a pattern. I showed you that Mr. Caleb, and that was obviously a black spot. But I would notice even on some of these healthier leaves, you start to get the yellowing. Then it would be more pronounced. And then we had a lot of leaf loss. I don't know if you can see it as well in the video, but look at all down at the bottom of the beds. Tremendous amount of loss of leaves, just pretty much everywhere. And it was on some of my canary in the coal mine roses. So this particular rose here tends to get black spot a little sooner than others. So I still wasn't too worried. I did my normal spray of manzate and propiconazole, and I've been mixing in some different chemicals. And on some roses, I don't have it that much. But over the last couple of days, it has exploded. Our Daytime temperatures have been in the 70s, our nighttime lows have been in the 70s, and we're finally starting to dry out. You can probably hear the wind in the background, but this disease or whatever it is has just exploded. You can see most roses now, the bottoms are yellowing. Again, near the top, if you look at my garden from a distance, other than needing to deadhead, these roses are looking really good, but down near the bottom, plant after plant after plant, going through this progression. And then by this point, the leaf looks absolutely terrible. So flipping them over, I was pretty convinced it was some sort of fungus, but I was getting kind of worried. And this is the second step. You know, what else could it be if it's not a fungus? Obviously, it's affecting many different roses. This is Marlin's Day, just looking not good at all. And again, when it gets to this point, it was hard to tell if it was Blackspot or not because the leaf yellowed and browned so quickly. I really didn't know what we were dealing with. And I was really, really getting worried that it was something that I had done in the soil. This has happened sometimes when I've put down lime. It's happened when we had like a really rainy period. And again, I wasn't overwatering, Mother Nature was, and some of the leaves would turn yellow. But just in the last 24 hours, it seems like this has just been an explosion of something in the garden. And this is Alina, one of the healthier roses you're ever going to find. And again, the majority of this rose is okay, but even on this, you're starting to see the yellowing of the leaves. So I even thought at one point maybe it's some spray burn, but I've kept the same chemical spray program forever. There's Secret and there's Pope John Paul II. So pretty much on all the roses, we got something going on. And unlike that first image I showed you with Mr. Caleb, to me it was an obvious black spot, because when a rose goes like that from 0 to 60, maybe there's something else going on. And I was a little alarmed that I have been spraying, especially recently. So my second clue before I go back to the main garden was, what have I done different? And the answer is nothing. The spray routine has been the same. My fertilization program stopped back in early August, so I haven't put down lime or I haven't done anything recently. Did some liquid fertilization. So that was one thing different, and I've watered a little bit because we were coming out of a drought. So I said, did I water too much or what did I do? So here's my second observation. This plant has been in a pot the whole time, and it obviously is not in the ground. It's not a soil thing, was my first clue. Because this is in a pot, this has been watered, and it was fertilized the same, so I haven't ruled that out yet. But I know now it's not a soil thing. It's not lack of iron, it's not chlorosis, it's not, too high or too low pH. This is something in my environment, because these leaves look exactly the same as the garden behind me. So that made me feel a little bit better, but I still said, am I doing something wrong? Did I put something down on that potted rose in the garden that kind of took things over the edge? And then my last clue was to come over to this multiflora rose. This has not been touched all year. Occasionally I'll throw spray on it if I have extra spray and I'm just trying to get rid of it. Never fertilized. Nothing has been amended in this garden, and you can see clear black spots on the leaves. A little slower process on this multiflora, but you can see the leaves yellowing here as well. So at this point, I'm convinced it is Blackspot. I'll show you an example similar to Mr. Caleb. I think what puzzled me was it was just so progressive, going from a yellowing and brown leaf within a day or two and never really seeing black spots. Again, here's Hot Princess, a new maiden rose, not a new maiden rose, but for my garden. Beautiful long canes, glossy foliage. And then down here at the bottom, it's just going from 0 to 60, just to a yellow leaf with browning. So comment, I know I've got some black spot in the garden. I think on the whole, this is some sort of fungus. I do think it's black spot, but the things I'm spraying for black spot also can take care of some other items as well. So a couple more clues as I go into some of them. I noticed some black spots showing up on Ring of Fire. Here's some right there. And I did notice starting to see a little bit more black spots showing up versus just that, severe defoliation and the leaves going yellow to brown. And what seems like a matter of a day or so. And here's another hint on Clara Elise. Again, this is seeing some yellowing of the leaves, but you can clearly see black spots on those. And Crescendo, kind of another one that tends to get black spot in my garden early. That's classic black spot. There's no doubt about that. So what I think happened was during a wet and humid period, this disease was already in the plant itself on the leaves and just rapidly spread so much, you didn't really get to see this hint of black, the spot itself, before the yellowing and browning of the leaf. You just pretty much went straight to something like that, where the leaf was turning yellow, brown, and then was off the bush in a day or so. So I'm pretty sure we found the culprit. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to keep up my spraying program. I'm not too concerned. We're the last day of September. It's almost fall. It's almost time for these roses to go to bed. If I do a rose show, I'm going to be cutting these canes at the top. They don't have any black spot, so I'm not overly concerned about that. The one pain in the butt thing that I have to do is clean up the debris in the garden. You have so many spores on your rose bed that are just sitting there waiting to infect more plants, and I think that's what happened with the rapid leaf loss. It just expanded through the garden quick. So if you want to talk about spores, check that out. So that's what I need to do. I need to get these leaves up out of the bed. That's going to be a big pain. It's going to take a long time, but that will keep it from spreading like wildfire. Well, probably not in this case because that's already happened. So continued spraying, cleaning up the leaf litter on the bed, and then just, it is what it is. It's late in the year. You're still talking blooms like this on Let Freedom Ring. So overall, the garden is growing outstanding. It's just a little eye-opening how much things have changed from going from probably the best year I've ever had in terms of disease not showing up until September. You northerners and other folks that don't have the disease pressure probably don't think that's an accomplishment, but it is, because it's really hard to get disease-free roses in the South. I'll end with a little bit of good news. I don't know how much I'll have for the South Carolina State Fair, but these are canes of Veterans Honor. I've staked it with a bamboo stake because this cane is like 3.5 feet long. I don't know if you can see this on here, but it started there where I pruned in late August for the show, and if that has a center, that has a chance because it has a queen stem and queen leaves. We just need a bloom to go along with it. Same thing with this one. Queen stem, queen leaves, everything's perfect on that. That's Sunny Sundays. We just need, voila, this to open up and be disease-free, or bug-free, not disease-free. And I've got my covers out and ready to protect that bloom for the show, which is next week. So comment below, what do you think? I know it's some sort of fungus. I'm leaning toward black spot, even though it did not present like black spot with the classic black dots. It kind of went like this to brown and then on the ground within a matter of days. Quite amazing what can happen in the garden. I should mention when the weather is correct, because the last couple days we've had nothing but rain, clouds, and drizzle. And so unfortunately, with the temperatures right in that optimal range for black spot, it really took a toll on the garden. So let me get at it. Let me clean some debris off the ground. I may have to bring out the leaf blower for this one and just kind of get them out of the beds, and then use a rake to rake them up, because there's a lot of work ahead, that is for sure. As always, I appreciate the comments. Let me know what's going on in your garden. And this channel, the purpose of this is not to show you perfection and not to show you how these blooms are always perfect, because that's just not a realistic take on the garden. So we show you the exhibition blooms, we show you drought and mites and black spot and everything in between. So it's a very realistic channel in that regard. And I'm going to leave you with something beautiful. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok, I've been showing this rose. This is Dizzy Heights, D-I-Z-Z-Y Heights. It's a climber that looks like Hot Princess. Beautiful pink blooms over and over and over again. And this is growing quite well. I've got to get this training a little bit better on the trellis. Take care, everyone.